Good morning, scholars. Today we're going to push on through to chapters 14 and 15 of Herodotus Book 1. These concern the military campaigns of Gyges and his son Ardys. Esebale men nun strati en kai hutos epete aexe es te mileton kai es smyrnein kai kolopontos to astu hele. Al uden gar mega ap autu alo ergon egeneto basileusantos duon deonta tesseraconta etea. Tuton men paresomen tosalta epibnespentes. Arduos de tu Gygeo meta Gygen basileusantos menen poiesomai. Hutos de Prieneas te hele es mileton te esebale. Epetutu te tyraneuontos sardion chimerioi ex eteon huposkiteon ton nomadon ex anastantes apiconto est tan asien kai Sardis plen tes acropolios helon. Okay. Es ebale men nun stratien kai hutos epete exe es ten mileton kai es smyrnein kai kolopontos to astu hele. Al uden gar mega apautu alo ergon egenonto basileusantos duon deonta tesseraconta etea. Tuton men par esomen tosalta epibnestentes. So esbalo is to throw or to send into, but when it has as its object a stratien, a military force, it means to invade, plus the accusative following s for the place. So here we have es ebale stratien este meleton. And hele, of course, is the second aorist from hiereo, to capture. And par esomen is the future of par eme, which in this context means to omit in the narrative. And epinestentes is from epinaomai, to make mention of. And for this aorist deponent, passive deponent form, epinestentes, consult Smythe 8:14 and 8:16. So, es ebale men nun stratien kai hutos epete exe este mileton kai es smyrnen kai kolopontos to astu hele. Al uden gar mega apautu alo ergon egeneto basileusantos duon deonta tesseraconta etea. Tuton men par esomen tosalta epinestentes. So just to clear up the geographical references here, where he says kai hutos epete exe este mileton kai es smyrnen kai kolopontos to astu hele. We can see on this map that Miletus is way at the bottom, and Smyrna is up towards the top, and then Kolopon is right in the middle. So basically, he made his way up and down the Greek-inhabited coast of Ionia, that being Western Turkey in our day. Ardys tu Gyges meta Gygen Basileus nemen poiesomai. Hutos te Prianeas te hele es mileton te esebale. Epitutu te tyranneontos sardion chimerioi ex eteon hupo skuteon ton nomadon ex anastantes apikonto est ten asien kai sardes plen tes acropolios helon. So here, nemen poiesastai is to make mention of X, and the X takes the genitive. And so, Ardys tu Gyges, Ardys, the son of Gyges, we shall make mention of, I shall make mention of. Epe plus the genitive has the sense of while or in the time of. So here we have epe tutu tyranneontos. So while that one was ruling, and then an etea, ta etea, are the homelands, the traditional homelands of a nation. So ex eteon ex anastenai means to migrate, or actually to be made to migrate, to be made to leave in this context with the causative form of ex anastantes, or being made to. I'm sorry, the second aorist, ex anastantes. And then nomades, hoi nomades are no roaming or pastoral tribes. So we have two things going on here. First off, the campaigns of Ardys, and then this thing that happened during the same period of his rule, and that's the Chimerioi coming down into Asia, as we'll see. I have some maps coming up. So Ardys de tu Gyges meta Gygen Basileu santos nemen poiesomai. Hutos de Prianeas te hele es mileton te esebale. Epitutu te tyranneontos sardion chimerioi ex eteon hupo skuteon ton nomadon ex anastantes apikonto est tan asien kai sardes plen tes acropolios helon. So again, regarding the campaigns of Gyges' son, hutos de Prianeas te ele es nileton te esebale. So we see Priene down near the bottom, and Miletus way down at the bottom. So Miletus was kind of like the plum of plums. And so this war will extend across generations for the Lydian kings. Now, regarding the second incident, Epitutu te tyraneu ontos sardion, chimeroi, ex eteon hupo skuteon ton nomadon, ex anastantes, apikonto es ten asien. So we have from Wikipedia this nice geographical depiction of the movements of the Cimmerians under stress of the movements of the Scythians. And so you see that they moved off into northernmost Greece, but at the same time they moved to the east and down into Asia, down into Western Turkey. And as Herodotus tells us, they even sacked Sardis, the capital of the Lydians, with the exception of the Acropolis. And the Acropolis, of course, is the main city up on a hillside where the inhabitants could gather and withdraw for the ultimate stand of defense, a highly defensive site. So all you need to do is look at pictures of the Acropolis in Athens, and you'll understand how they were spots where you'd have the significant buildings, but also that had a high degree of defensive capacity. So this is a very fine map showing, you see that this is above the Sea of Azov and the Black Sea even. So, and we see where the Cimmerians came from, but that mainly this is Scythian land. These are Scythian plowmen, Scythian farmers, Scythian nomads. And it's these nomads that pushed the Cimmerians out, down, at least temporarily, into Asia. Because remember, Herodotus said they only made raids, basically. They didn't make any permanent conquests. So therefore, he doesn't really count them. But this is a very good map as well. And this is artwork from the Cimmerians. So we see that they were horsemen who were adept with bows and this and that. So thus they would have been very formidable as a strike force, as a quick strike force against the Greeks, especially those who hadn't been lucky enough to get into the Acropolis. Okay, so let's look at the particles we have here. So first we have this alagar, alagar uden mega apautu alo ergon egeneto. And Dynaston tells us, here Allah and Gar fulfill their normal functions independently. But in cases where only one or two words intervene, the particles may be rightly regarded as forming a unity. This form is mainly found in Sophocles, Euripides, and Herodotus. It seldom occurs in Attic prose. Okay? And so we can basically translate this alagar, but since he achieved nothing else of note during his rule of 38 years, we'll, let him go. We'll pass over him having said so much, having mentioned so much. But this alagar is something you will see in Herodotus. And then this use of de, Arduos de tu Gygeu meta Gygen Basileu Santos Nemen Poesomai. So he announces Ardys, and then he just resumes Hutos de Prieneas te Hele. So this Dynaston tells us, he says that de sometimes marks the transition from the introduction of a speech to the opening of a speech proper. So in the orators, you'll see ego de, to begin the speech. But his good example is from the Odyssey, where I guess this must be Menelaus relating to Telemachus what his father, the story that his father Odysseus told when he was visiting. So this is from Odyssey Book 4, when Telemachus is off trying to find news of his father and stops with Helen and Menelaus in Sparta. And so this is Menelaus quoting Odysseus. Toi gar egoi toi zene, mal a treke os agoreus so. Hemos de leios, meson uranon ambibebeke. Demos are ex halos asi geron halios nemertes. Now, I'm a little confused about this because if I'm imagining Odysseus to be addressing, I'm trying to figure out who he would have been addressing as Zane, but okay, excuse my lack of immediate familiarity with what's going on narratively in the complexity of who's telling who what in the Odyssey Book 4. But nevertheless, we see in the first line, Togar egoi toi zene mal atre kosago reuso. But friend, foreigner, I will tell you as accurately, very accurately what happened. And then he begins the story. Hemos de helios meson uran ampibebeke. When the sun was in the middle of the sky, and then at that point from the sea came the old man of the sea. So, like in such cases where the de introduces the actual beginning of the speech, Denniston tells us that broadly similar are cases where de introduces a disquisition predicated in advance. So we have that Ardys de mentioned to begin, mention of what Gyges' son, but then the actual discussion begins with Herodotus de. Okay, so here we go. Es ebale menun stratien, kai Herodotus pete exa es ten mileton, kai es smyrnen, kai koloponos to astu hele. Al uden gar mega abautu alo ergon egeneto, basileusantos duon deonta, tesseraconta etea. Tuton men par esomen, tosauta epibnestentes. Arduos de tu gaigeo, metagygen, basileusantos, nemen poiesomai. Hutos de prieneas te hele, es mileton te esebale, epitutu te tyraneuontos sardion, chimerioi ex eteon hupo scuteon ton nomadon, ex anastantes, apiconto esten asien, kai sardis plain tes acropolios halon. Okay, so besides the oligar and the de that I've discussed, the rest of the particles here are pretty straightforward, with men starting off something and then continuing with de, and then te used to talk about the stages of the action, and then to introduce an entirely new phrase with the epi tutu te tyraneuontos, and then the final chi just unites the two acts, the two results of the chimerioi coming down into Asia. Piconta estan asien kai sardis plain tes acropolios elon. Okay, so here are just some pictures of the ruins, the wonderful ruins that are at Miletos. I'm very sad that I didn't get down there when I was in Turkey in 2012. I'd say to anyone who's lucky enough to get over there, I made the mistake of flying into Izmir and then for some strange reason thinking that I needed to spend the night in downtown Izmir in a hotel when the airport's actually already south of Izmir. And so for anyone who actually would take a trip to Turkey, if you fly into Izmir, don't even go into the city. Just head straight down, get into your rent-a-car, and head straight down to Miletus or maybe Ephesus. Plenty of hotels, and stay there. Don't waste time in the city if you're there for the antiquities. Miletus is a wonderful, wonderful site, and we'll see more of the remains of it as we talk about these campaigns in our subsequent lectures. Okay, so thanks for being interested. Have a good day, and I'll see you again soon. Goodbye.